Might just keep this running. Just grab it.
Yeah, there we go.
You can go for a swim. Did you ever try to foil in here?
Actually, we do have a current system, so you could try it, but it's...
You could do dock starts and pump starts in here.
...105 liters, 85 liters. Nice for carving, smaller wing.
So these were the first ones you built?
The very first one we're going to see inside.
Yeah.
This is like the second generation where we didn't work with the water cooling system anymore, and that wasn't necessary. That was very fancy looking. So the board, what I'm going to show you, the first board, we had a water pump inside, and then the water came out to cool the processor. It was fancy looking, but honestly, if you were anywhere in muddy water, then you always had problems. Then it got really stuck, and then it didn't cool anymore. And then it showed you on your remote control that the processor was too hot. But this is how it started. Today, none of the brands just work with water cooling anymore.
No.
Either you work with eSurf, that's a different thing. There you have to use it because you're anyhow in the water.
Yeah, everyone's trying to make it as user-friendly as possible.
Exactly.
And saltwater is a challenge itself already.
The more parts you make, the more sensitive it's going to be for defective.
Yeah. All right, I follow you.
Yeah, we got some deliveries in even. Some new SiFly boards came in this morning. They're already reserved, so the customers are desperately waiting to go on the water.
Yeah.
And that what we do
I know that feeling. So which one's mine?
The one in between, the premium.
I can pick one.
Yeah. So let's go inside.
Or maybe we can just leave this open. This will add a lot more light.
We could, yeah.
That's okay for you? Yeah. Got some light. Magic. Some magic over here. Oh, that's sweet.
So let's switch off the music. Yeah, that was this was the first board I made. This is about 6-7 years ago, and the customer who bought it, he's turning it in every year for service. So now we made the new modern Surlock, like the industry is using Surlock, or Amphenol is also called Amphenol connectors to it.
Much more reliable.
Absolutely waterproof. And as you can see here, that this has the water cooling inside. But although it's one of my first boards, it's still it's very good to fly. It's very stable. It's very fast. And when my son saw it coming back for service, then he thought I traded it in. So he was very happy. He said, "Dad, we have it back. I have back my board, but it's still customer owned. So it's still my customer who owns it." Yes.
All right. And here that's one of the EPP, which I think is really interesting because you have myself, I really take good care of all my boards. But I've seen a lot of people that they just throw it in the truck. They just want something reliable, something that can take a little beating. And I think that's a really nice material.
Exactly. That's the EPP. So it's not as sensitive. It's perfect for schooling, for rental.
I've never seen an EPP. Is that the only one? EPP?
No, Wadu has as well, and some other brands.
Never seen one.
Yeah, which is fine, because if you compare that one and this one, this is obviously very fancy looking. It's complete carbon. Yeah. It's also lighter, although you would think, you thought in the beginning also EPP would be lighter.
I used to build remote control planes from EPP, and they were like absolutely light. But this is, let me try this one. Yeah, this is really a lot lighter, a few kilograms at least.
Yeah, it's lighter, but it has to do with the EPP. It's not just only the EPP. You can imagine if we have the EPP board and you would have the mast underneath, it would break out. It would be too sensitive, too fragile for that.
Yeah.
So there is an aluminium construction within the sandwich, completely up to the front, which has some weight, and also which gives the possibility to let in, like we say, 1% of water, which is not completely 1%. It's about after a session, you will hear a little bit of water in your board. Nothing happens. It doesn't influence your riding, not at all. But you have to know it. There's always some water in between, and definitely.
It's just good to know.
It's good to know.
Not being taken by surprise that your board is leaking
that
water.
Would be absolutely a horror if you would have water in a carbon board, because you have to let it dry, and it would take up to almost 1 year to get a board really. When a board like this really pulls water, you have to let it dry for almost 1 year to let all the moisture out.
Wow.
Yeah.
It takes some time.
It takes a long time.
I've tried it. I've had one old board, a wingfoil board, and it was leaking, and I told by the weight, like I put it on a scale and I could tell there's still water in it, and it took ages, I think half a year.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of gear here. So what's your favorite board? What size are you riding?
I mean, the Stella is definitely today it's our premium board at SiFly. It's light. This is 89 liters. This, in combination with the sport wing we can talk about later, that's the smallest wing we have, which is this one, complete carbon. And this one in combination with the Stella is a lot of fun.
Oh, how many square centimeters are that? That's small.
700. So that's small, and then you use a small.
Still got a lot of chamber here, so I don't know if you can see that, but I think it still takes off pretty early, huh?
It takes off early. Yeah, yes. Yeah. This is about 22 clicks, then we start flying. And if you're advanced, you can even fly a little bit earlier, but you have to push it hard to take some speed.
Some toys, some tools.
Yeah, this is everything that's e-mobility, e-mountain boards.
That's why I'm here, because you're passionate about this.
Yes, and then
that's what I like. Like, there's a lot of people just into sales, but from what I saw on your website and from our talking, I know that the things you're doing, you're passionate about. Not only eFoiling it, but you know what you're talking about.
Exactly. It's, I want also the people that to be happy if they invest in a product, that they keep talking about it, because I hope that they will be one day as enthusiastic as I am. This is a 1300 wing. This is a wing. This is the most universal wing for everybody. I would say between 80 kilos and 110 kilos or lighter, for sure. So also my kids, 40 kilos, they come along very, very well with this wing. This is a 1300, and 1300 is very good for whole the family. And you can carve as well with that wing, no problems. So standard, we deliver the 1300 wing. And then either for people that are a little bit more heavy, or people that want to fly long, I mean using the battery on the maximum and not flying too fast, but flying very early, flying very stable. We have the Cruiser 1900, and you can see this is like the A380, you know.
So what would you use for tow foiling, like towing someone? Would you take the big one?
Yeah, the 1300, either the 1900, I would do so. We announce with the LR battery, which is the big battery, that you will be able to fly up to 120 minutes.
That's
here
crazy.
We have to be. Yes,
but that's like the maximum.
That's so the maximum. That's the same with an electric car. An electric car in the brochure is written 450 kilometers, but you know, hold a family going into the mountains, cold weather, you're not coming 450 kilometers far. And the same here, if you know how to fly and you fly carefully, we we make 120 minutes. And even with this wing and the big board, I make way over 120 minutes because you're flying at 16 clicks.
That's a really good point. If you know what you're doing, because you can waste energy so quick. Like if you're doing start after start after start in the wrong position. Exactly. That's what I learned from foil driving. My first tries, I was just burning the battery, and now I'm so efficient because I think that's a learning, and that's part of the fun. Like being able to fly longer, not with a bigger battery, but just from how you surf and how you drain the battery.
Right. This is the remote control which we have. We have remote controls which we use for the do-it-yourself, and this is the commercial version from SiFly. It's a very intelligent one. You can register all your tracks, and when you come at home in the evening, you can see how you have been flying, for what time you have been flying, how long you have been flying without falling in the water, your average speed, how many start and stops you have made.
Oh. So you don't need a smartwatch anymore.
You don't need a smartwatch anymore, so all that information is
there
hidden in the app.
GPS built in?
It's GPS built in. And it's also so intelligent that it vibrates at 50%, so it shows you, okay, what you have done so far is 50% of your riding time. Again, it repeats it at 25%, it vibrates again, it tells you, okay, slowly move to the beach. And by approx 10%, it reduces speed, and you will still be able to sit on the board and to come back to the beach. Okay, which is also smart for people that not to drain the battery completely to zero,
which is important.
Which is
a
definitely
measure
important.
of safety.
Absolutely,
as well.
absolutely.
Especially if you're out in the ocean doing a long trip.
Yeah.
So, what's your dream customer?
What's your dream?
Do you prefer to sell it? Because you said you're taking, like, even if somebody shows up and wants to buy a board, you're still trying to take the people out on a ride and explain the whole thing?
Always. Because of, regardless if somebody is rich or if somebody saved his money for years to buy an eFoil, it's still an investment, and there are a lot of things you need to know. How to treat the battery, how to treat the stuff after riding, how to store away the remote control. Even if you think, okay, what I need to know about this remote control? We have a very fancy accessory bag and everything is inside, but the accessory bag is so nicely made that it's even closed very well. And the remote control will dry easily, but this bracelet stays wet. So imagine in autumn, in winter time, or at the end of the year, it's not as warm anymore, and you put it away very wet. In the spring, you will open the package and then you will see, oh, I put it away wet, and it will all look not so nicely anymore. So there are small things that the customer needs to know. How to carry the board, how to start in the water, to pay attention for the traffic in the water, what to do. So we always go with the people in the water, we guide them, and we know that we avoid a lot of questions or irritation also, because we have issued all those topics.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, because for most people, even if they have a foiling background, eFoiling is different, and there's a few points that are unique to eFoilings. And saltwater, like you said, saltwater and high currents are not a good combination, and you need to know what you're doing. And it's funny that you're talking about this little leash, because Foil Drive comes with a similar one, and I actually replaced it because it was wet all the time. That was something I didn't like, because I usually take my stuff home and then I put it away, and I had to take it off to put it somewhere else.
Exactly.
To try.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
And we have experienced riders like surfers, wing foilers, and they approach us and okay, we want an eFoil, and I think I can do it within 5 minutes. And for sure they have experience, but even eFoiling, it's slightly different, and we take about 30 minutes. That means we let the people the first 10 minutes to lie on the board, pull your feet up, and to let them make some turns, to learn the remote control and to learn the board itself. And then we put them after 10 minutes on their knees to get the flying feeling. And then the last 10 minutes, they're up to go and they can stand and they can fly. And if you take those steps, which I think is very important, then everybody can fly. Rather than you have a guy or a girl that says, okay, I'm a surfer for many, many years, give me the remote control and I will get going. You still will see that also they may have a lot of experience, that it's slightly different. It's slightly different.
And there's a lot more maintenance after you've finished riding than on a normal foil, and that's something people even with a long surf background are not familiar with, and that's handling, and that's something I had to learn as well.
Exactly.
And how to charge, because you're not supposed to fully charge the battery after you finished riding. You're probably going to leave it at 60% or something if you store it away.
Even till 80%, 70, okay. 80% is good, so it's not completely fully loaded. I do have to say that the battery management of SiFly is a very advanced management system, which they all built in-house. But still, it's important to treat the battery well, and if you know that you're not going to ride for the next 3 weeks, then it's not that smart to load the battery completely full after your last ride. It goes pretty fast. Even if the battery is 10% and you put it on the charger, it's 2.5 hours. So in the morning when you decide today we go for flying, make your breakfast, put your battery on the charger and then leave it for a couple of minutes, put it in the car and go flying.
Crazy. And it's a huge battery, it's got a lot of capacity.
Yes.
All right, what do you think? Should we hit the water?
Yeah, perfect.